Hello and welcome back to the PRL podcast. This week, like always, we will review the division's efforts from last weekend where they were at the Canada track, and we will try and predict the future as it would be and what might happen this Saturday. And fortunately, I'm really happy Mitch isn't here this week.
Yes.
So we've got the lovely old school, or as we call him, Mark, with us. So yeah, how are you doing, lads?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good.
Good to hear. So, as always, let's kick off with the Division 1, I don't know, synopsis of what happened at Canada. So, Gary, if you want to take us through the quali, that'd be great.
Very interesting quali. Very close. We had a Falcon in P1. Strong showing once again from Toro Rosso driver. Closely followed by Decky in P2.
Yep.
Then Falcon's teammate Michael in P3. Mitch, good showing in P4.
It's like all the IRT drivers right at the
top.
Yeah, it
is. Maxi in P4. I think that's his best quali of the season.
I was going to say, I think he should be really happy with that. That's definitely the furthest he's qualified, I think.
We see him come through the field a lot
decent lap as well, so...
Yeah, 10 dead, not bad. And then P6 was Charles, VSO Charles or Flair. Followed by Goodell Smithy or
My
Sam
first
P7.
top 10 quali.
Took you long enough.
Took me 5 races to get it.
Owen in P8, solid once again from him. Killer, Mr. Consistent in P9. And then Jari in P10. Neil with a very disappointing quali.
That was a poor quali from him, wasn't it?
For his standards in P11. Really poor. Then we had the two Finns in Rick and YHYY. Followed by myself in P14 with an absolute belter of a lap. Then it was Agony. And then Harry rounding out the grid with not getting a lap in. Typical Harry.
That
really,
is
isn't it?
Harry in a nutshell, really. Somehow ending
super quick
at the back, but just can't do it on the day. Yeah, you should never do it on the day. So,
why would you not just, if you're that quick, why don't you just throw in like a really kind of like slow lap, like we said last week about the strategy?
See, that's what I did, but I think the reason why he's so fast is he doesn't do that. So he doesn't leave anything on the table. He always gives. There's like on my first lap, I'll admit I was probably at like 70%. I was trying to get a lap in, which I'd say is the right thing to do, but I know from speaking to Decky that Decky doesn't do that. He will still give it 100% on every lap, whether he's got a lap in or not. So, I mean, Decky seems to do it pretty well, so maybe I should.
Yeah, it works for Decky. When it works for Harry, though, it goes well. Most times you get a lap in, he's up near the front of the wrong ball. So.
That is true, to be fair. But I guess that now moves on to the race, so I will take us through that. In first place, I think he missed Monaco. Michael is back. Oh, actually, he's not back on his first spot. This is his first win this season, I think.
Yeah.
So props to him. He drove a really good race. And then, of course, Falcon was not far behind in second. Those Toro Rossos look unbeatable. The Constructors is almost wrapped up, I'd say.
It's already gone.
And then very closely behind Falcon you have Mitch. So it was a bit interesting because he opted for the 2-stop when he was in the lead, whereas Falcon and Michael did the 1-stop. So maybe that shows Mitch went for the wrong strategy, but who knows?
I'm sure if he had to go again, he would have done the 1-stop.
Yeah,
everyone
definitely.
Everyone in D2, can we just listen that Mitch did a 2-stop and we're all meant to do 1-stops? Just gonna say that.
Right, okay. Neo got 4th, a brilliant recovery drive from him. I'm sure if you'd have told him, would you be happy with 4th at Canada, he would probably been pretty happy given his starting position. So a good drive from him from P11 on the grid. Maxi got 5th, so that's where he started. Maxi back on the ball again after, I think, a bad race at Monaco. We then had Owen in 6th, so he did well. Killer in 7th. I swear he's always in 7th. Every time we do this, he's in 7th. Not Mr. D2, it's Mr. P7.
Yeah.
Then we have Decky in 8th. He got extremely unlucky with some lag to do with Falcon.
Yeah, with Falcon.
So this season's not going well for him.
No, not at all.
9th we have Harry, not where he wants to be. He got 18 seconds of penalties, which is impressive by his standards.
He also got damage in the first couple of laps as well, which forced him to do the 2-stop.
Yeah, I think that had something to do with that, but we'll gloss over that. Then we had YHYY getting a point for the Renault team in 10th.
Carrying Renault once again.
Oh, then we had Charles in 11th, so Flair in 11th. And then from 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, all of them did not finish, which was Jari, I think, in 12th. My screenshot just says Max Verstappen. Oh, okay, Agony in 12th. Rick got 13th.
Sorry, not Killer, sorry, Rick, yes.
Me in 14th. You in 15th. And then Jari in 16th.
Yeah, Jari, sorry.
So, yeah, not a great finishing record for D1. But we do have some important topics to discuss, don't we? And I think the first one is the driving.
It wasn't.
It was debatable.
Great, yes. Tom Mitch was bad at driving. Some of the defending.
I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen what happened, Mark, but basically, I think Flair was at the centre of it for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There seemed some aggressive driving. I don't think Canada makes it look very good, because on a lot of tracks you get runoff. On Canada, there's a wall or grass, which kind of exaggerates the move. But Flair and Decky got very aggressive, but Decky was also involved in probably the talking point of the race after, which was he got in a collision with Agony when he tried to come through. Agony still hadn't stopped, so Decky needed to pass him if he wanted to stay with the front runners, and incidentally Agony lost control of his car and hit the wall. I just want to know what your two guys' opinions are on that.
Well, I can understand Agony's frustration and anger, because I'm in that position myself when all the front runners come in and all they're thinking of is get a quick in lap or out lap, whatever, and they're like, well, I'm so much quicker than the guy ahead of me, I'm on fresh tyres, it's going to be easy move, and they just think, well, maybe they don't think, but like, I don't know, it's like, it's hard to say, because if it's Neil in front instead of Agony, does Decky go for that move as well? You know what I mean?
So you kind of saying like that level of entitlement almost.
Yeah, I'm not going to say like they think that they can just do the move because they've got the pit stop or whatever. Because I don't think they're like that. They do respect the other drivers regardless of their pace. But yeah, it's just like, well, I'm quicker than you. It's going to be easy to overtake you. You shouldn't defend against me or whatever. And then, well, in my view, when Decky overtook me, I didn't defend him because I knew he was much quicker, but Agony obviously defended, and Decky still went for the move, and Agony came out worse, and probably had some reason, probably right to be frustrated.
I think you're right. Like, I think definitely because back on old games when I was fast on 2016, there have been situations where I tried to come through the field, and you do want to dispatch the cars that are at that point in time slower than you as fast as possible. And on this game, it is of paramount importance that you don't lose time, because you can lose a hell of a lot of time behind a car. It's dirty air, and Canada wasn't great for that. I think if Decky had stayed behind Agony, his next best shot was to overtake on the straight. I think in the time until that straight, Decky could easily have lost a second to Falcon and Michael, who'd already passed Agony at this point.
Definitely. But Agony also said it's not a one-off. It's happened a couple of times this season and a few times last season. So yeah, could understand his frustration.
No, I completely understand his frustration. I'm sure he wasn't expecting the move, but I don't know. I think maybe the front runners should take a bit more care, because obviously the people they're overtaking are in races as well. You can't just pass through them like they're invisible, but they shouldn't be getting in the way in a way. It helps their race if they move out the way. That's why I don't get why Agony was still there.
YHYY, he's never in trouble. He knows he's quicker than him. Like, he gets out of the way. Doesn't do needless battles, and in the end, most of the time, he gets a couple of points.
No, it's a perfect example.
See, I think the big point is, if you know you're that much that much slower than the people in the top 3 or 4. If you're going to do a reverse strategy, accept that you're actually going to disrupt your own. I think people need to think a little bit more logically. This is both divisions, and I think just race-wise. I don't do a reverse strategy because I don't fancy Kalec and V5 up my backside when I've got worn tyres and I've technically got to race them. It adds no value to my race. I don't understand. I think I think it's a bit daft. Personally.
No, that's a very good point. And to be fair, Gary, you made a point. YHYY has obviously mastered that, because think about it, you are right. He's never tangled up in any instance with them. He never makes a fuss. I think Agony kind of wanted to stand his ground a little, and Decky is not the person you want to do that against. I thought Decky's move was aggressive and fine, but there is that fine line. I think if you're one of those cars on those reverse strategies, you have got to expect when these guys come through, they're going to push past you. It's race critical for both people.
Reverse strategy, sorry, I always, well, I'm not going to battle them because I know they're already quicker than me, and it just hampered my race, so
exactly,
keep it out. Just get out of the way, like, and then...
Look at the track. Look at the track. The track is so difficult to overtake on around most of the corners. Like the hairpins pretty much, sorry, not the hairpins, the chicanes have pretty much one line through them. And even down the straight, if you're on the inside, you've got to make sure that the other person trusts you. You've got to trust the other person enough that's taking the actual racing line to not just completely wipe you both out. It's such a tough track. It's so high speed. All of the overtakes you can do, bar the hairpin, are going to be high speed.
Completely agree. And Canada, like you said, it is a difficult track to overtake. Therefore, if you don't take the opportunity when it arises, you could lose. You might not get the opportunity for another lap. Like, you just don't know when you're going to get it. It's not a track like Monza, where you only got to wait a few corners for a big straight. This is a track where you've got a lot of chicanes. It's hard to follow. A lot of variables.
Could also explain the very aggressive defend we had this race as well.
Yeah, I think we should move on to that, actually. We saw some very aggressive defending from Flair, I think was really... Oh, Flair and... or Charles and Falcon. I'll talk about Falcons because I was on board with Mitch. To me, Falcon, he defended at the hairpin. It is on his highlights if people want to know what I'm on about. It's towards the end. I understood why he was defending, because obviously it would help Michael, who's in the lead, and it would help Falcon via slowing Mitch down. But it was at the hairpin, and Falcon fully relied on Mitch pulling out. If Mitch doesn't pull out of that, Mitch is getting damage, and Falcon, with the contact model, is probably also spun into the wall. So I thought it was a very risky move, and Falcon evidently opened the steering up to force Mitch out of the move, which it's hard but fair. Personally, I don't agree with that sort of forcing someone to back out a move in, like, if they're going to get damaged. Like, if it's forcing someone onto a bit of runoff where they don't lose time, I'm all for that. But forcing someone into a wall's a different situation, if you ask me.
Totally agree. It's just not necessary for him. He got away with it this time, but if who knows, this week he could end up in the wall, and that's him losing a lot of championship points, which he needs.
Well, he has got a lead.
I haven't seen it, but the only thing I can relate it to is when Emperor... This was last season, and I think, Smithy, you had a really strong opinion about this, funny enough. Emperor was getting lapped and basically showed, I think it was Tiggerby, the wall, and basically scythed Tiggerby into the wall, the chicane at Monaco, and Tiggerby's race was over. So what it sounds like to me is if actually Mitch decided to go with it, ruin his race, lose a wheel, sounds like the repercussions and the opinions would have been a hell of a lot stronger than they are now. I haven't seen it, as I say, but
I would imagine
it almost sounds like,
as it was fighting
Mitch
for
wasn't
P2
happy
and
after the race,
P3.
but it was like, I'm sure he would have been definitely a lot more anger if he had crashed or lost his front wing or something like that.
I think this is kind of like an overall message to drivers in both divisions. Maybe some drivers need to calm it down a little. I mean,
yeah.
you can
So
drive
it's not
how
like
you
we
like,
report to the
but
stewards anyway, you know what I mean? We don't,
yeah,
like,
no one really
rarely anyone
reports, to be honest.
reports. Yeah.
It's kind of like a gentleman's agreement, just to respect, give space when needed, kind of thing. But there, I mean, I can't talk for D2, but in D1 there are quite a lot of rivalries where drivers don't particularly get on. I don't think Flair and Decky get on. I don't think Decky and Falcon
No.
get on.
Those
And
two
I
in the
think
chat as
that's,
well, actually,
yeah,
after that race, Flair and Decky. That
they
got
got a bit
heated.
heated. But yeah, so that basically what we're saying, guys, is Canada was a interesting race.
Baku will be even more interesting.
It will, but we did enter a bit of a new, like, not era, but we had a new commentator with us. Obviously, Cliffy couldn't make it, which is not good.
Yeah.
But RJ has now officially joined the D1 commentary box, and I thought he did an incredible job.
He was really good. Really
I
good.
can't imagine commentating by myself. I think it'd be very difficult. So props to him for doing it, and definitely props to Cliffy because he's done it all season. And I think those two will smash it
really
week in, week out.
I've not heard RJ, but last season when he was raced, seemed like a really stand-up bloke, and I've seen that he seems to be very like YouTube focused and all the rest of it. And,
Yeah, he's very good with social media, I think.
Yeah, definitely a good addition to that aspect of it, and
yeah,
hopefully he gets involved with us every now and again.
Well, I think that wraps up our D1 like review of Canada, so I guess we should move on to Baku. Obviously, we've been in a few practice sessions, Gary. I'm not sure if you've seen much of the pace mark, but let's get to our predictions. What we think the race might entail and who we think will be top three. So I'll go first. I reckon the race will be very interesting. I think a lot can happen at Baku. Obviously, you've got the tight castle section. That you only need to lose concentration for 1 second and you could lose your wheel in that section.
A bit like Monaco.
Very much like Monaco. So I think we could see a lot of fast drivers who are pushing to the limit, DNFing or further down than expected. I think we should see some great racing. It's no real dirty air effect.
Race like last season. That was very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially since I got P5.
I DNF'd in lap 2, so I hope it's not quite like last race. But yeah, so top three, I'm going to have to predict. You know what? I'm going to go against what I predicted on the forum. I'm going to put Neo first. I think he really wants this.
He's looking quick. He's looking really quick.
And he backs himself, which is always a factor. I like that.
When Neo backs himself, you know he's quick. He doesn't always back himself.
Second place, I'll put Mitch, and third place, Decky, or maybe the other way around. But I think someone like you or me, Gary, could get a shock result here and maybe get a lot higher than we would normally get, which I would love. I would love.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
So yeah, if one of you two wants to go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. This is my top three now. I'm gonna go same with you for P1. I'm gonna say Neo. He looks very, very quick around this track, so hopefully he can get some points. Second place, I'm gonna say Decky. Hopefully he can get a better result than he did in Canada. And then P3, I'm gonna say you could pick any driver for P3, really. P3. I'll say Falcon. Yeah, I'll say Falcon.
Similar to mine. Mark, have you got a bit of a guess of who you might think will be on the podium tomorrow?
Guess is the operative word, but
Me and Sam.
Maybe we need to refer back to our previous week's results. I reckon, because I'm a solid 0 out of 15 so far.
Oh yeah, would that be interesting if we actually tallied up who's been the most accurate?
All idea to do.
I think we should do it. But I'm gonna go Neo first. I will say Decky second, and third I'm gonna say Killer.
Killer. Oh, that is bold. I like
Gary,
that.
I hasten to add, I think you will. I've got a horrible prediction for you. I think you'll qualify 5th
Oh,
DNF.
Oh, geez. What? DNF?
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say that, but I just feel like you might get a nosebleed and push yourself a bit far. Like me, that's what I'm predicting for me next.
It's possible. I could easily envisage myself doing something very similar. I mean, I'm not sure about you two, but I actually get very nervous when I'm high up. I found out that in Canada was the first race where I've really been there this season, and I mean, Baku's not the track you want to get nervous on. You'll be in the wall if you get nervous.
Okay with it, I think. Well, because I'm not near the front as much as I used to be at all. So I think Baku was my only time was in the top 5, top 6 even last season. So I hope it's all right there.
It's an odd one, this track, because it was probably my breakout performance, and I'm going around it this time around. I'm thinking, I know how bad you were this time last season. How on earth did you manage to get round here?
Well, it just shows how things have changed.
Yeah.
Well,
Improving.
I think that rounds us off nicely for our D1 segment.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll move on to the next segment. Right, on to the interview quickfire question segment. Like always, the guest will be asked 10 questions where he has to produce a driver from the division that he drives in as an answer. And this week, as always so far, we have 2 Division 1 drivers with us. And the first of which we are interviewing is ridiculously quick. His gamer tag is a children's candy. And he never seems to find the finish line. Harry, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, but my gamer tag's IRT.
Well, I was referencing the other one. Right, so, I hope you're ready for your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right, your first question is, who is the most annoying driver on track?
You.
Fair enough.
Smithy. Do I have to give an explanation, or?
Nope, just on ones you feel you have to.
Okay, well, I was going to say we'll be here for an hour.
Who is the most overrated driver on the grid?
Apart from yourself, obviously.
Overrated?
Yep.
I'm going to say Nia.
Oh. Get the popcorn ready.
Who do you think is the most improved driver?
Most improved. Probably Maxi Luca.
Okay. You get to ruin one person's race and they know it's intentional. Whose race do you ruin?
Flair.
Snap. Which driver do you get on best with?
Probably Mitch.
Sorry. You're stuck on a desert island. Which driver do you pick to be with?
Jesus.
Jesus isn't a driver.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
And I want to know why you picked this driver.
Oh god, that's a question and a half.
He obviously doesn't listen to the podcast.
Gonna have to push you.
Michael.
Why?
Why?
Because I had no other option.
Fair enough.
Why Michael? You can teach me a different language. That's all I'm going to go with.
Okay, fair enough. I like
You
that.
have plenty of time.
Right,
Yeah.
Decky and Neo are hanging off a cliff. You only have
God,
enough
this should be
rope
easy.
to break one of their falls. Who do you save?
Neo, because Decky, I think he'll survive.
Okay, fair enough.
He might do a couple rolls, you know.
Which PRL driver makes you laugh the most?
Does it have to be a driver? Can I not say the podcast?
You could say, we'll let you off. You can say the podcast if you
I'll
want.
say the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Particular driver in the podcast.
Okay, so Mark, you make me laugh the most.
My first ever mention, I'm blushing.
Who do you least want to team with?
Falcon.
Any
Who
reason?
is the... Oh, yeah, for no reason.
Plenty, but I'm not going to go in that.
Oh, close question.
Okay.
She said why. If you said why, we might have got it.
Who is the best driver on the grid?
What, like, kind of like the most underrated or like the best?
Just who's the best?
Probably going to say Michael.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, on the special question designed just purely for yourself. If there was any corner you could cut without getting a penalty, which corner would
Jesus
it be?
Christ.
Bearing in mind what you did in Mexico in your TT time.
God, it's taken you quite a while for this one.
Oh, because there's so many.
Well, you've cut so many, I guess, yeah.
Oh, God. What's the biggest corner cut?
I was just thinking that's probably what you're thinking.
Don't think logical.
What do you mean, don't think logical?
It's probably the chicane in Monaco, but that's no fun, is it? You can't just like scoot over that.
To be fair, I would still lose the race if I did that. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm gonna say Mexico.
What, in the
last
stadium
sector.
section? For...
Yeah.
Well,
Beautiful.
that rounds out our questions. As always, I'll ask you if you want to say anything to any of the drivers across both divisions. Harry, have you got anything to say?
Watch out for your front wings.
Okay, I think they knew that, but we'll roll with that one. So yeah, cheers Harry for coming on. I wish you all the best at Baku. I hope you find the finishing line. No, I don't, but I'm just going to say it anyway. So yeah, good luck. So now on to our second of the two Division 1 drivers that we will, or have been interviewing. This driver's had a phenomenal start to the season and has raised plenty of eyebrows with some exceptional driving so far. Maxi, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Right, so like the previous guests, we will be asking you 10 questions. You can elaborate on the answers if you feel you need to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Okay, so your first question is, who is the most annoying driver on track?
Michelangelo. And yeah, because his internet is like horrific. As Spain proved.
Who is the most overrated driver on the grid?
Overrated. I need to. I don't know. It's a hard one.
You gotta pick.
I'm gonna try to think. How many drivers is even on the grid nowadays? Most overrated. Michelangelo.
Oh, fair enough.
Who do you think's the most improved driver?
The most. Well, I don't really know because I wasn't really here for like.
Well, if you had
True,
to,
actually.
since the start of the season.
Yeah.
Probably Killer Blue.
Okay.
Because yeah,
Sure.
Killer Blue.
Right, so you get to ruin one person's race and they know you've
Decky.
ruined it. I haven't even finished the question yet, alright?
Oh my god.
Whose race do you ruin?
Decade.
No love lost between you two.
Nah, it's bad now. It'd be quite fun.
Fair enough, I rate that.
Yeah.
Which driver do you get on best with?
Probably my teammate.
What, can you tell us his name in case people don't know?
His name is Charles.
Okay. Okay.
You're trapped on a desert island with one driver. Which one would you pick?
As in a real F1 driver or PRL driver?
PRL
driver.
And why would you pick him?
Trapped on an island. Yep. Probably Flair again.
Why? Just because you get on, or?
Yeah, I get along with him more than like a few drivers, so just be, yeah, and he's pretty like chill, so he wouldn't use up, my energy levels. He just sort of sit there and have it.
Fair enough. Right, so Flair and Falcon are hanging off a cliff. You only have enough rope to save one of them by tying it around their waist and breaking their fall. Who do you save?
Definitely Flair. Fuck that. Oh no.
That's staying in. That is staying in.
That is staying in completely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Flair and Falcon can fall to his death.
Oh my god. Flair doesn't like that.
Yeah. How can you? Other than yourself just now, which PRL driver makes you laugh the most?
The most. Probably. I don't know. It's sort of. Because all I really see is like in the chat. Probably Gary or Adam.
Oh.
I'll take it. Yeah. Adam isn't getting that.
Gary or Adam, one of the two.
If you had to pick one.
Yeah.
One. Adam, just because Gary's there.
You don't know how much that hurts, man. Who would you least want to team with? I know who I'd least want to team with after that.
I think we could guess
Michael.
who you'd least want to. Yeah, I could have guessed that.
Not because he's bad, just because he'd probably lag out of like half the races.
He is actually ahead of you in the championship. You do know that.
Yeah, but I'm not like good, really, am I?
He is just actually. There. I think he might be second. If he's not second, he's third.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that kind of swings nicely on to who is the best driver on the grid.
What based on what, like
on whatever you want to class the best as.
Yeah. The best probably Deku.
Oh, he'll love that. You shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
Right.
Deku.
Anyway. Like the last guest, thank you for coming on. Pleasure to have you. Is there anything you want to say to any of the drivers in PRL or anyone in general who might be watching?
Not really.
Oh, fair enough. Well, thanks Maxi for coming on, and I wish you all the best at Baku. I'm sure you'll somehow get another exceptional result. So yeah, cheers Maxi.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers, mate.
Now on to the D2 segment, where we will be doing just as we did for D1. We'll be looking at their efforts at Canada and trying to predict, I mean, good luck with us for that, but trying to predict what might happen at Baku. So yeah, Mark, you are our D2 specialist. If you want to take us through the quali results, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem at all. Canada was always going to be an interesting one, I think, but predictably, our new D1 driver, Kalik, has finished up on on first. A very good lap at 110.4. Then Army, V5 following. Tiggerby with a really good result in 4th place, nudging out Luigi into 5th. Maka, really good quali.
When was the last
him.
time he qualied that far? When was the last time he was that high up?
Get him in D1, bring him back.
When was the last time he had that high? I don't know, but
I was stoked.
It
might be. I was stoked to see him quali 6. Because he's been so unlucky this season for whatever reason. He still got unlucky in the race, I guess we'll get to that. But he's on the right tracks to getting himself out of the unlucky spell, I think.
He is, and I think he was. What really made me sad about it is he was very. And we'll come on to the race anyway, but we'll come on to that. But very good thoughts from him. The number 2 Haas driver Danny coming 7th.
Number
2. Just out of question, who decided the number 1 and 2? Was it Gunther Steiner or?
To be fair, he always picks Kevin Magnussen, which is the 2nd driver, and
okay.
I feel quite proud about that. But the problem is Magnussen's actually quicker than Grosjean nowadays. So
I hate really Magnussen. Sure. I don't even want to talk about him. I hate Magnussen.
Myself in 8th.
It's not a bad quality for you, is it?
Well, it's probably where I want to be. It's where kind of like I basically think I'm probably the 9th or 10th quickest round here, and I just expect 1 or 2 people to mess up. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with that. I was pretty happy to be just behind Danny as well, in all seriousness.
But I thought you're number 1.
Yeah, over the race. We'll come on to that.
Okay, yes, that's it.
Steve-O in 9th. Stein in 10th. A really disappointing performance for Robert in 11th, who's been very consistent up until now. Mike, and then Carcannon. I've only got up to 13th, so sorry guys, but
the rest don't matter.
I'm sure the people below 13th aren't bothered about being mentioned on their grid slot anyway, because it's not quite where you want to be, is it?
No. But yeah, I suppose onto the race. I want to give a bit of a background to this because the race was really messed up. Did you guys see what the conditions were like?
Yeah, I am in the D2 chat and I watched a few of the races.
Rain?
But it rained, Garrett. Basically, it rained, but it never went to Inters. It was one of that. It's kind of like
hungry.
It was kind of like a British shower. Like it didn't really like. I'm confused why the game has this.
It's just not stupidest thing in the game. Don't get me started on it. Seriously, do not get me started on it. Sake, got robbed.
I'm pretty sure you were in first, weren't you, Gary, when all that happened?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it looked like a confusing race. I'm sure I would have gone on to Inter's not even accidentally. I was sort of, geez, it's raining heavy now. Let's put on the Inters.
Sums up the game, really,
out the pit lane.
It's raining, but it's dry.
Yeah, it's confusing.
I think most of the grid have agreed to relieve Jeff of his duties in regards to his tyre choices because absolutely incredible. Yeah, never got little be known to us, and the game did actually recommend us to go on to Inters as well, which I think a few of us did, and some very clever people didn't. But yeah, we can run through the order. Kalek in first, qualified first.
Can't stop him, can he?
Mr. D1.
Mr. D1.
Mr. D1.
I'm looking forward to racing him because I think
3 fins now.
I think he's around my pace. I hope he's not faster. I don't want to go back even more in this grid.
Yeah. Tell you something, he's definitely not the quickest fin because I have him.
Rick is always there in our hearts.
Yes, he is.
Very, very confident man, and what I like about him is that I did call him out a bit on the video that I did on after the wrap up. And I hope he doesn't mind, but I'm actually going to point out what he said to me because I basically said, should be in D1, bit daft. Maybe he won't finish the league, like KO lots of numbers. But I was being quite purposely controversial and balancing what other people thought. I wasn't just gunning for him because he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll quote him as well, hope he doesn't mind. So I just watched the notebook on Monaco, and you said if I went to D1, I may be bad and leave the league. 1, I prefer to be in D1 to race with the quicker guys. That's how to improve. 2, I will not quit a league because I'm doing bad and getting bad results. I'm a Finn, and if you know, we don't give up. Just wanted to say something to that.
I respect that. I love the patriotism.
I do like that.
I think Rick and YHYY also kind of instill that in the Finnish motto. YHYY, he might be in 16th. He's finishing that race in 10th somehow. God knows how he pulls off these strategies.
And that's what you need. You need that kind of confidence in yourself, and also just a little bit of backbone. And I get that from him. So I really wish him the best of luck against you guys.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't beat me, I wish him the best of luck as well.
But it now opens up the title race because, on to the next guy, V5. He's got away with it hugely. He's come second in this race in Canada, third on the grid. And now all of a sudden, he's not that far behind as he was. So that's very interesting. Obviously, Tom come third, Tiggerby. Started fourth. I did think he'd be quite quick round here, so kudos to him. And Robertson, great recovery from 11th. Again, another Mr. Consistent round here.
Robertson is always in top 5. I swear every week we do this, we're saying how well he's done to finish P5. Is he? He's not top of the power rankings, but I think he's up there, isn't he? I'm not quite sure. But I know Killer's at the top, but I'm pretty sure Robertson is definitely up there.
It's pretty frustrating because I hope Robert won't mind me saying this. He's not outrageously quicker than the rest of the midfield. He's not outrageously quicker than like Dave, Steve-O, me, and Mike. But what he's doing, because I start off most of the races and literally about 6-7 laps in, I'm about half a second behind him, a second behind him, and then I'll bin it and just do something silly, as well everyone else. But Robert never does anything silly. Like, that's the reason why he's getting these results.
Killer of D2. That's exactly what he is.
Him and Waluigi we'll come on to Waluigi, but him and Waluigi tend to be really, really, really consistent, and yeah, it's really frustrating when I'm sure we've all been there, not just you guys, but everyone in the league, where you're racing someone who you, pound for pound, like lap for lap, you say, yeah, we're pretty much the same. And they're just destroying you over the league.
I've been there way too many times.
You can ask Adam about that, I'm sure he knows a lot about
it. On to Mike in 5th. A very good finish for Mike. He started off in 12th. He had some problems racing someone in a Haas who he seemed to have many issues with, which was obviously myself. He wasn't too happy after the race, but a very good finish for Mike, who is, again, he's in that kind of midfield, but that's probably, Robertson's almost escaped it a little bit so far this season, and I think that's probably the best finish out of the midfield. So kudos to Mike. On to Steve-O, 6th, doing what he does. Very
good old Steve-O.
Can't beat
about
Steve-O.
where he's going to finish. Well, you can. 5 people did this week. So. But no, he. And to be fair, one thing we should probably add is that he tends to actually race with no but any practice at all, because he turns up at 7 o'clock, literally in the door. So yeah, he just goes into it quite cold, and for him to do that, I know I could do it. I need a good hour beforehand. It's okay.
Day 12.
Yeah, I need a week to warm up for the race, not just an hour.
And even then, like at this bottle or whatever.
Aaron in 7th, 15 seconds of penalties.
Not quite Harry, though.
Actually.
Not quite Harry.
No, on track he come fourth.
He's getting there though. He's getting there.
On track he come fourth, but it was really tight, really concertina between fourth and seventh, and he really, quite literally paid the penalty at that. But he showed some really good pace.
Fair play.
Really.
Fair play.
8 for me.
Solid.
Where you started, isn't it?
Yeah. The old
not bad.
Not the power. The old the performance rankings will thank me kindly for that, I suppose. Really, I had to 2-stop because I put inters on and then had to put dries back on, which really cost me because
that must have been a kick to the ego. You've just been outsmarted by the game.
Yeah, and I was just behind Robert. I was a bit quicker than Mike, although he was on worse tyres.
I think if that was me, I think out of like pure determination and shame, I just wouldn't pit. I couldn't accept I've made the wrong strategy call. I'd just stay out on the inters. I sod it. I would just stay there.
That's what I did in Hungary. I always come back to Hungary, I'm sorry, but I'll pit on the inters. And then they're like, come back in for dries. I waited 5 or 6 laps, then I paid back for dries.
And then it went.
And then it was inters. So, yeah.
I have to say, if there's anyone that deserves a load of grief, I'm going to be very neutral and impartial, and remove the fact that I am actually me. I actually had a terrible race. I wrecked.
Yeah, you're really bad, aren't you?
I wrecked. I changed my cockpit. I changed to T-cam. I did 2 horrible moves on Army. I did what I thought was a really good move on Mike and Steve-O, and they looked at it from Steve-O's point of view, and I basically just dragged him along and used his front wheel as a braking tool to my back.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Basically,
D1 is perfect.
I looked absolutely. Oh, it was so bad. And I particularly owe an apology to Army, who is the only person that hasn't given me any grief all week about it. So much respect to Army Tricks as well. Moving on to now, Luigi, 9th. He suffered very similar to me, actually. I think he did he was almost the guy that we all looked to and went, oh, Army, I think as well. Everyone looked at him and thought, oh, you're going on the inters. That's a cracking idea. Jeff told us as well. We're all going to do it. And he had a nightmare and then ended up in 9th, but he was really quick round here. Danny, a point. Good result for the second Haas driver.
He's back in D1.
Point every race, 1 point.
Yeah.
No, but I don't really. I think he double stacked with me because I was ahead. We both went back on the. We both went back on the softs, and he.
That's unfortunate.
And that was really. That wasn't great. I felt a bit bad on him for that. Hammer's in 11th, a free stop, so something must have gone wrong. Bellon in 12th on a 1-stop, so something must have really gone wrong.
I was going to say something must have gone awfully wrong to do a 1-stop and be that far back.
Yeah, Emperor as well on a 1-stop. The Williams in both divisions.
Oh no, watch what you're saying, watch what you're saying.
One Williams.
I could hear that coming. Nah, to be fair, I'm not exactly, it's literally Mitch pulling the Williams along. I haven't exactly got us many points so far, so.
But yeah, it's just a mad race. The conditions didn't help. There's not much to really grab from it. It's a bit of a lottery, but yeah, that's kind of what it was.
It's one of those races where your opportunists like absolutely thrive from that. And I don't know who the opportunists are in D2, but I know Rick's one of these opportunists who, if there's some adverse conditions, be it rain, dry, rain, whatever, Rick is always there to get like maximum points on that. And there's a few more drivers in D1 who are quite like that. And I'm sure there's a couple in D2 who thrive in those adverse conditions.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
I think Robertson, Mike, and Dave normally.
Oh, Dave, yeah,
To
Dave.
be fair, I think I was one, but only because Decky was, and Decky would always tell me, "Oh right, pit for Inters now," and I'd be like,
I know
"You
you know
sure,
Decky?"
Decky?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, pit for Inters now," and it'd work out a treat. Now I've got Mitch, and I say, "Mitch, should I pit?" "Oh, fuck off, Sam! I'm trying to drive." "Oh, okay, Mitch." Okay.
Mitch be like, "Yeah, Sam, you pit, but I'll stay out, and you tell me if the tires are good, yeah?"
That's exactly what he would do. He'd use me as like a trial run, a guinea pig.
Yeah, that's what he'd do.
Well, I guess that moves us on to the predictions. I think. Oh no, I have seen a few times from the D2 lot. So but as always, I'm gonna let you predict first, Mark, just so I've got a target that I know where I should be guessing.
Okay. I'm gonna say V5 by an absolute country mile.
Okay.
He's really quick from what I've seen. I would then say Tiggerby in second and Waluigi in third, purely because I think there's going to be a lot of people struggling. I think there's going to be a lot of incidents around here. I think there'll be a few flared tempers just around that kink and around, because it's such a one-stop. It's such a one-stop. It's so clear.
Yeah.
I'm not giving away strategy.
Wait. Please, can someone just do a 2-stop in D2, please?
You don't need to ask that. I'm sure half the grid will 2-stop. Whether they've broke their wing or not, they'll still 2-stop. That's just what happens in D2.
Oh, if someone does more than 3 stops.
Oh, you've got to be looking at your man here, Bo. He's good for the 3 and 4 stoppers there.
I just can't see, because the problem is if anyone quick loses a wing, I think with how concertina and how close the grid is from about 8th or 9th up now, particularly now Calix obviously moved to D1, and you compare everyone's pace, it's quite linear. You know, people are so a little bit quicker than other people, and they're a little bit quicker than other people. I think if you lose a wing, you're losing 6 positions. So
on this game, it loses you. You can have a green front wing where you've hardly damaged it. It'll lose you 3 or 4 tenths a lap. Orange, you could be losing like 8 tenths a lap.
I had some experience with a damaged front wing in Baku, and to be honest, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I was still doing, for damaged front wing, I was still doing low 44s, which I don't think that's bad with a damaged front wing.
To be fair, there's actually not that many high downforce corners, is there? It's like 90 degrees.
And if you look at last season, a lot of front runners got damaged and didn't bother changing their wings when they did.
And Mitch didn't change his wing.
Cara, I remember Cara not doing either.
That's a good point, to be fair.
There's no real quick corners. If you can get around the kink, there's no quick corners. It's not like Japan or Spa or Malaysia where you got those horrible kind of like left, rights.
Yeah. Well, maybe I take back my comment. If you've got a damaged wing, feel free to stay out. This is the one and only time where I actually think, yes, stay out. The amount of times I see D2 drivers get damaged. Saw it happen in Monaco. People just weren't pitting. I don't know why you wouldn't pit. You're probably going to lose acres of time. But apparently this trailer not pit, so go for it. So did you, was that your top 3? V5, Tiggerby and Waluigi?
Yeah, I'll put a cheeky. One thing I will say is I'll put a cheeky 4th in for Car Cannon because he looks quite quick round here.
I was tempted to put him 3rd. I just don't know quite where his pace is.
No, because he did it last week. He did actually race Baku last week.
Oh, okay.
In AOR Division 7. Yeah, and 5th could be anyone's. Literally 5th is whoever wants to make it 5th. That's all I'll say on 5th.
I'm gonna say, I'm going off some information here. I'm gonna say V5. I'm gonna agree with you. V5 will win by an absolute storm. I think he doesn't make that many mistakes in terms of strategy. He's known for making mistakes, but in terms of actually putting it in the wall, I don't think he'll do that. No. I'm going to say second. I'm going to be bold here, and I'm going to say Robertson will get second. I think he'll just have this knack at not putting in the wall. I think that's what matters, and he seems to have the pace to kind of mix it towards that end. And in third, I'll put Waluigi. He seems pretty consistent, so I think he could definitely be on that podium come tomorrow.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with V5 for the win. And what Oscar says of Marks, he's very quick. Army P2 and I'll say Robert P3 because as Marcos, he keeps out of trouble and he seems very consistent.
Oh well, fair enough. I guess that rounds out our D2 segment. Hopefully we have some interviewees coming on, and if we do, you will find them in about 10 seconds. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that wraps up this week's podcast. I've accidentally not recorded the outro with the boys, so I'll have to say on behalf of them, thank you all for watching. It's sorry for it being a bit long. If you could comment down below and tell us if you want them to be longer or if you want them to be a little bit shorter. So yeah, wish everyone who's listening and everyone in PRL the best of luck at Baku, and I hope you get the result you want. So take care, everyone.